Hey, so in this video we're gonna view this insanely good VSL I found from this guy making, I think it's 80k a month, 100k a month, and I really love what he's doing, so let's go.
Welcome. Today I'm going to show you the model that allowed me to reach $77,000 per month in recurring revenue with 96% profit margins and just one VA. And I work
This is kind of the offer, the promise,
less than 4 hours a day. One of those
the marketing messaging.
hours is dedicated to recording this video, so I'm going to show you the model.
And he's saying one of these hours is dedicated to this video, so it's not an extra thing, him recording this video. Handling your objection.
Walk you through it, maybe some insights that you can implement for yourself.
What's in for
Especially
me?
useful if you have a scenario kind of like this. So you know it's legit. This is my Stripe dashboard right here. So we're going
Proof.
to be the goods.
The proof is in the pudding, as they say.
So this is 6.
And another thing he's doing is, some people can fake screenshots, yeah, for sure. But when you go into your Stripe account and you show this, it's 10 times better.
Of June 30, 2024. There you go. From 1st of June to June 30. So how much did I make in June? MRR is 77K. Net volume from sales is 92K. 93, call it. I like the net volume number, don't get me wrong, but I like the MRR more because I know that I can enter July.
Why he's convinced.
July 2nd right now, and know that even if I mess it up, I'm gonna make 77,000.
The worst case scenario. I know if I mess this up, and I'm still gonna make this amount of money.
This is a luxury I didn't have before. So let me tell you
A luxury. That's how he's presenting it. I like it. He's packaging it in a good way.
the story, or let me show you the story of how this looked like last year. So I made more net volume from sales, 112K, but the MRR was 4. This is an emotional roller coaster because you feel really good because you got a good number of sales, but you also feel kind of anxious because you got to chase it again. There's a 4K MRR. That's all you're making in terms of recurring. So what are you?
He's talking about the pain point, kind of. He's talking about the pain point. Most people watching this, I feel like they're in this side of the coin where they're chasing the sales, and he wants to shift their beliefs into wanting the MRR, which, like I've said in a previous video, you cannot manufacture desire. Desire is already there, you just talk about it. These people, subconsciously or consciously, they already want to go into this MRR business model. And if you don't know what MRR is, it's monthly recurring revenue, meaning it's coming every month. Like subscriptions, for example. Netflix, if you pay Netflix $17 a month, I don't even know how much it is, they have an MRR of $17 from just you.
To get it back. Can you do it?
And that's why you see every platform and everything on the planet charging MRR. That's why. Because it's the best type of revenue.
Again? Like, that's the question looming around our heads. Now, I happen to have a model that allowed me to do it again, over and over again, get paid every day with 96% profit margins, 1 VA, and less than 4 hours of work a day. This is the model I'm showing you today. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
The old reliable iPad is, of course. Everybody knows that when you pull out an iPad, you look 10% smarter.
Something funny to show his personality.
Let me make myself smaller so you can see the things over here. Okay, so why did I not get the MRR? Let's talk about that. So
Why did I not get the MRR? This is a question they have. Like I've said this previously. When you describe why somebody doesn't get the result, they instantly view you as the authority.
The current industry optimizes for as follows.
And now he's gonna start by throwing stones because he's starting like the industry does this.
So the current industry optimizes for as follows. It says get leads, turn them into clients.
That's both relatable, and he's throwing stones, killing two birds with one stone. What?
Set. Pretty standard. I used to run the model of sales calls, closers, setters. I don't do sales calls anymore.
Relatable.
I don't have setters anymore. I don't run ads, and it's just me and a VA. So
Building more intrigue, handling more objections, hyping his business model up more.
what changed? Before, I used to have leads and turn them into clients. This is kind of how it normally works.
He's gonna describe his previous situation.
But a common recurring thing you're gonna find on this video is prospect inertia. The more money someone gives you, the more money they are likely to give you. So remember
This is an aha moment, an aha sentence.
that. The more money someone gives you, the more money they are likely
He just gave them this dopamine hit. You're like, oh, I just discovered this. Yeah, that makes total sense.
to give you. So what I found was that getting leads and turning them into
And that's why he also repeated that sentence.
clients was just super tough. Because these guys gave you 0, and you were asking a 2, 3, 5, 10K purchase. So it's hard. It doesn't obey prospect inertia. Now, here's an interesting statistic. I have 600 customers for a one-time thing. These are not clients, these are customers. So that's how we define a customer, somebody who bought a one-time thing. And I have a 230,000 follower audience. Out of these two, this one is 95% of my income in terms of not how much money they made in the one-time purchase, but
This
how
is
many of
model.
them turned into clients. And this one is 5% of my income. So, like, take a look at that. Like, 600 people made me more money than 230,000. And this is 95%. These are 5% of the income. So there is a huge discrepancy. Another statistic.
Insane.
80% of my clients bought a one-time thing before me, before they became a client. That means that adding just one step in between.
He's proving his business model by showing his proof.
Allowed me to turn all the people who said maybe later, not now,
That's basically his He instead of going from leads to clients, he has this customer thing.
who didn't book a call. It allowed me to turn so many more into clients just because it was much more efficient. Now, why does this work? Again,
Why does this
prospect
work?
inertia. Because the current industry asks leads to jump. It asks them to become leads and turn into clients. The cash creator model doesn't do that because we obey prospect inertia. We don't ask leads to jump, we ask leads to flow. From leads to customers to clients. This has two main benefits. The first one is that you don't have to spend time talking to too many leads. The problem is when you spend 95% of your time with leads and 5% of your time with clients. I don't do that. I spend 95% of my time with clients and 5% with leads. Why? And here's the second benefit. Because when you introduce a step in between, it allows you to only talk to people who A, admitted they have a problem, and B, paid for it.
Do you see how good this VSL is? Or am I the only one seeing this magic? Like, I love this. I love how he's explaining this step.
The funnel and the model I'm going to show you
And how he's breaking it down so it makes absolutely perfect sense why it works.
and around two questions. Number
Right now he's explaining his model, his unique mechanism. This is what he's doing here.
one, how do you turn a lead into a customer? And number two, how do you only talk to customers? This has a lot of freedom because the burnout doesn't really come from
Selling the dream.
meeting and talking to these folks, from the
The burnout doesn't come from this.
clients. The burnout actually talks from
Talking about you. Going into the pain.
trying to chase leads and trying to convince them to book a call to buy X, Y, and Z. This is
Relatable.
what really drains you. So I came up with this model that allowed me to not do that, right? So this model is, that's what this model allows you to do. I didn't come up with it. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, but here's the new ones that I've developed for myself. Okay, so where do we start? You have leads, and then you turn them into customers, and then you turn those into clients. The nuance of each step matters a lot. So we're gonna stand right here, and we're gonna begin with leads. So how do you turn an audience into leads? How do you get leads? The big question, right? And what I found is that the most efficient way I've found to get leads is what I call whale bait. Now, whale bait matters a lot.
More
So
unique
whale bait
mechanisms.
is-
This is what I love about this guy, man. He has unique mechanisms for his he has mechanisms for every part of his mechanism. It's insane. I love this a lot.
For example, the practice of only talking to the people who have the problem you solve and their money to pay for it. What does that look like? Let's say you were looking for people who make 10K a month, right? If you showed a post telling people, how do you get to 10K a month? Then you're only attracting people below it, right? It's not really the best use of a content piece because then that's how you only get broke people. Whalebait does things differently.
Value.
Whalebait allows you to turn people who have the money, who have the problem, And it is the discipline of only focusing on them.
Look at how he explains the unique mechanism. He doesn't go very deep into, oh, you're gonna be posting this thing and that thing and this thing and at this time. No, he just tells you that using this thing, you're gonna get benefit. That's the good thing. That's how you want to sell mechanisms.
How we do it. And a good example of how we attract people with whale bait is 3. The first one is philosophy. And I'll leave the other 2 for later. So the first one is philosophy.
Yeah, philosophy. That's, you're like, what? What do you mean philosophy? What is that? What do you mean? How? And then he teases the other 2 things, which you want to learn, so you're going to stay until the end.
I get some clients that make more money than me. Why? Because they have seen what problems I can solve, and one of them may not be money. Maybe one of them is margins. Maybe one of them is time. Maybe another one is simplicity. So when I put my philosophy out there, like this is an example of it, this is what I believe in, this is what works for me, and this is my truth, then it attracts people way above you, because then it's people above you that are like, maybe I'm interested in that, right? Like, you see it all the time at the gym. Like the guy, like the billionaire at the gym, he makes more money than the trainer, right? But the trainer has something that the other guy doesn't. And that's what's appealing.
Analogy to
so
prove his point.
Philosophy,
Love it.
your code, what you believe in, what makes you different out there, then you attract better people. You attract low-income people with promises, get this kind of money. You attract higher-income people with philosophy. This is the way you accomplish.
Another aha moment.
This is the way you get to the outcome.
Love this, man.
The second one
It's very good.
on how to use whale bait is potential. And I'm going to use the example we got right behind me. So take a look at those car ads. These are Japanese car ads. You know, I bought them at a bazaar. So let's say I wanted to run an ad on how to make 30K recycling a car.
Can you give an
like
example?
You have a car, how do you sell it for 30K? A bad ad would be me showing you, how do you make 30K? Why? Because that's going to attract people who maybe don't have a car. So they are unqualified leads. That's going to attract people who are maybe more desperate because it's just 30K without context. A better example of a better ad that's actually whale bait is by showing the person you're talking to how do you turn something they have into something they don't. Example.
Another aha
See
moment.
that old piece of junk you got parked in your garage? Let's turn that. Example. See that old piece of junk you got parked in your garage? Let's turn that into 30K. I can show you how. Then the only person that's interesting to is somebody who has an old piece of junk parked in their garage and maybe they don't use and they're willing to sell. Way higher discipline. And will you get less leads? Yes. Will you get way better leads? 100%. I have 230,000 followers. And let me tell you, like, it's not uncommon for me to get messages and see people and talk to people. And even I live that in which you have so many followers and people just don't buy. Like they're all from like unqualified sources. They just don't give you money because you build the audience the wrong way. You built it with fish bait, not with whale bait. Whale bait.
Bro, he's going very deep into explaining why you're not where you want to be. It's insane.
Matters more than you think, and that is how you attract better people and turn them into leads. And the third one is perspective. It's how you look at yourself. This is kind of my beef. Like I tell people, don't call yourself a coach. Don't call yourself a course. Don't call yourself a consultant or a mentor or XYZ. Because that pigeonholes you into one thing. Then it's like, oh, you just sell a course. Oh,
It's using your beliefs.
Oh, you're just an X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, like, what's the offer again? What's the pitch? Should it, right? And then it's like, it's a weird dynamic. And it's more useful.
He's gonna show you a better way.
Have the perspective and see yourself not as a coach, a consultant, and mentor, or somebody who serves a certain niche, but as somebody who just solves many problems. You have many solutions. Again, we go back to philosophy. I have clients that make more money than me. Why? Because I have solved many problems. One of them may be money. The other one may be clients for your consultant. Money needs to be talked about. Move and turn it into
I love how
customers.
he's drawing stuff. It's insane.
That the best way to do so is with this thing we call insights. And turn it into customers. What I found is that the best way to do so is with this thing we call insights. And it is the antithesis of value. Now, there's a common theme of
more
give
stones.
everything away for free.
It's gonna throw more
If you
stones.
give the sauce, people will pay you to cook it for free. Build huge goodwill so that one day you're gonna have this big monetization event. I heavily disagree with it because I believe that value slows leads down. Why? You've seen this. You give
I
away
agree.
your tactics, you give away your stuff, you give away your sauce. What do people do? They take that and they're like, thanks, dude. Let me implement it and then get back to you. Oh, let me get results with your free stuff so that then maybe
But I'm laughing so hard. This is so true.
I can afford your paid stuff. Oh, I'll definitely buy from you something. Some do, most don't. Whereas insight speeds leads up. Why? Because a client that's worth getting is not in the mindset of let me steal everything I can from this guy. A client worth getting is in the insight of
He's justifying why. He's justifying why. I love it.
can this guy get the job done? So when you give insight, you speed leads up. When you give value, you slow leads down. So what is the difference? Like, how do you define what each is? When you create value-based content, it's like you're telling the answer. It's when you tell people, here's 10 exercises you can do at home to get a six-pack, right? Insight, instead, is not telling the answer, but showing you have it. I have this client, right? We used X, Y, and Z method. Here's the before and after picture. It shows that you have it, and it doesn't.
Bro, this is so fucking good.
People
Just educational too.
trying to do things. It makes people want to buy things. Another like really
I love this VSL. It's both educational, like I said, and it's a VSL.
bad kind of side. What's the opposite of benefit? Consequence. A side consequence of value is it attracts audience of sellers. It attracts an audience of other.
Look at how much he throws stones at your current business model and the thing you think is real and the thing you think you should do.
People who sell what you sell, right? It's like the fitness coach. The fitness coach posts a bunch of pictures, right? And he posts a bunch of like how to do exercises. He's only followed by other fitness coaches. Like it's really hard to monetize. Like the fitness coach who did it with insight then attracts buyers. And this is a really important distinction. Don't tell people the answer. Show that you have it. Because if you just tell people the answer, you will only slow them down.
Love this.
Insight-based content does things differently. And this is kind of how I get people to be interested in what am I selling? What am I doing?
This is how I do
wanna
this.
Teach them how to do the thing for free.
He assigns proof
And
to his client claim.
probably you don't. This works for people who are sell like, real estate syndicates, who sell big ass partnerships, people who sell
Yeah, this works for everyone. He's calling you out.
tens of millions of dollars things.
Doesn't matter.
You sell 10K coaching and consulting. It's probably not the best use of your time. Different place for different games. If you want to get clients for your consulting practice, insight is the way. If you want to build a huge brand and be rich and famous, value is the way. Personally, I'm more interested in just being rich. I don't really care about being famous. So for that, insight will do. This is
for you if you just want to be rich and you don't want to be famous or this.
how we move people into the next stage and we sell them something. Now, what do we sell them? We got to turn them into customers. So what do? Do we create new courses? Do we invent new things? What do we actually sell? We don't create new courses unless you want to. Let's work through this. Now, when you do the thing, like every day, you're working on, you're delivering for clients.
He also said you don't do that if you don't want to. So he's basically handling another one of your objections, and he's making it sound easier than it is. You not easier than it is. He's making the solution sound easier because you won't have to be creating courses and stuff.
Creating content, you're doing X, Y, and Z. We think that this is what needs to be the content. That is not the case. What needs to be the content is actually the sawdust that is created from the table. What's like on the floor lying, and like what's there. We think that the big thing should be the content, and that is actually quite inefficient. It's actually the small things that could be the content and the things we sell. Let me give you an example of this. So let's say you are creating a training on ads,
Let's see.
right? What is the big thing? It's ads. What is the small thing? So let me put it like this. It could be.
So yeah, I'm gonna review the rest of it in the next call, in the next video. So yeah, see you tomorrow.